Everyone in the media is pushing the same narrative. The bill is homophobic. It has nothing to do with gays. You shouldn't be talking to kindergartners about gender identity, especially if you're not their parents. That's creepy. You should be arrested for that, in fact. You talk to a normal person's kids about sex in kindergarten, you get beaten up. You should be beaten up, please.
Okay, so that's Tucker Carlson talking about the reaction in terms of some in the media. Culturally, people are horrified by Florida's so-called Don't Say Gay bill that effectively tries to pretend, as so many GOP efforts do these days, that the community just does not exist, driving them into the shadows where the right would prefer them to be. So Tucker, in defense of bills like that, is trying to make any like accepting, loving conversation about how there are different life experiences. Not everyone is exactly like Tucker Carlson. Those people are bad. Those people are coming for your kids. They get beat up. They should get beat up. He just stumbled into that. It was a complete accident that he implied that people who talk about gender, who provide an open, accepting environment for kids who are having a very difficult time, should be beaten up. This is a cable host with an audience in the millions advocating for violence against teachers. Amidst, by the way, a multi-year campaign on the right to get the craziest people in the country to hound teachers over everything they say and do. Show up at the school board meetings, wait in parking lots outside. Now he's telling them, no, you should be beating up the parents if they do something that you don't like. Anna, what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, this goes to show you how much the right wing has decided to dig its heels into creating or manufacturing non-issues, manufacturing culture wars, which then do have a negative impact on various disenfranchised groups. In this case, students who might identify as gay. But what this legislation really did is it otherized students. And so while it's true that in the end it got stripped down to something that only impacts students between kindergarten and third grade, what the whole debate has done is it has otherized students who are part of the LGBTQ community. That's the whole point. And so I have family members who are part of that community who have children. And their children are already getting bullied in school in Florida, and it's just incredibly depressing to see it. Because again, like let's just keep it real, everyone. The original bill was specifically focused on the LGBTQ community. Okay, it had a provision in there that would allow for teachers and educators to out students to their parents before they were ready to come out. Yeah. That luckily got stripped out of the final bill because there was so much backlash. But let's ask ourselves this for a second. Were there really discussions about gay sex or homosexuality or any of that in kindergarten to third grade? That wasn't a thing, okay? They didn't start learning sex ed till like 5th grade at the very youngest. So like, again, they're creating this issue that doesn't even really exist. They're needlessly otherizing students who are already like, dealing with questions and discomfort as a result of the climate that right wingers have already fostered. Like they know what they're doing. And then what's even worse is how they're now twisting things to paint anyone who questions the consequences of this bill or consequences of this law as like somehow being supporters of pedophilia. It's really sick. It really is.
We're going to turn to that in one sec, because as we alluded to earlier in the show, there are multiple dark roads that this is going down. And again, in their effort to make sure that their voters pay attention to stuff like this, focus on stuff like this, center hatred in their political value system, and never take a look at the state of their life and wonder why Republican politicians don't deliver for them. That's what this is about. So Tucker will give you, oh, are you angry that they're talking to your kid? You should go beat up the teacher.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.